हेलो यूट्यूब, वेलकम बैक टू एनएसटी एजुकेशनल वीडियो। इस वीडियो में हम लोग एडवांस पैटर्न के बारे में बात करने वाले हैं जो कि ट्रेडर्स अपने ट्रेडिंग स्टाइल में यूज करते हैं। हाउ डू आई यूज इट एंड व्हाट इज द पर्पस ऑफ दिस इन माय ट्रेडिंग स्टाइल, दैट्स व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस इन दिस वीडियो। ऑलराइट, सो इस पैटर्न का खास रोल मेरी ट्रेडिंग स्टाइल में मार्केट के डायरेक्शन को प्रिडिक्ट करना नहीं है। हाउएवर आई यूज इट फॉर फाइन ट्यून माई एंट्रीज। जब मुझे मार्केट के डायरेक्शन का सेंस हो जाता है दैट वी आर शूटिंग फॉर द अप वेव or the down wave, because wave analysis is the core foundation for my analysis. That's what we do and that's actually producing me good results, and that is the major reason I'm following it. So मेरी ट्रेडिंग स्टाइल में इस एडवांस पैटर्न का खास रोल सिर्फ यही है कि एक फाइन ट्यून एंट्री मुझे मिल जाए जहां पर मुझे पता चल जाए कि at this particular level of points the market might fall down or market might go up. So इससे ज्यादा इस पैटर्न को मैं यूज नहीं करता हूँ. This is for the entry reason, not for the analysis purpose. So the pattern which we are going to learn today is called back pattern, and the ratios and the formation what we follow, because trader to trader क्या होता है कि इस pattern की ratios change हो जाते हैं. Some traders follow some other levels. So what do we follow and how do we actually recognize this pattern in the market? That's what we are going to discuss. So let's start. So again, once I have a direction of the market that we are looking for the bull run or we are looking for a wave upside in the direction of the market, next job as a trader is just to fine tune the entry. So all we need to do to find some certain pattern. So once we find this pattern particularly in the market, we execute the trade in the buy direction. So how do we recognize this pattern? I first look for an impulse for the upside. That is the first condition I look for. If I'm looking for the buy direction, I look for the buy impulse. That's it. So in this case, we will call that leg as a X wave. This leg will be A wave. So this impulse, we'll call it X to A move. And then afterwards, once we see the end point of this impulse wave, make sure this is not going up, keep going up. If it keeps going up, you need to adjust your labeling. So you shift it here and shift it there. So that becomes the A wave now. Alright, so from X to A is a single wave up impulsively. Next job is to just fib it. So we apply the fib on that impulse, and once the fib application is done, these are the ratios which I use in a back pattern formation. So now the retracement for this leg, the retracement level which we follow in the market, that this wave going down has to touch this 382. अगर इसने ये टच नहीं किया है और जो नेक्स्ट रिट्रेसमेंट वेव है अगर वो पहले ही ऊपर चला गया, द पैटर्न invalidates itself. Alright, so condition for the next wave is this: it has to touch 382 but cannot touch this 618 retracement of the fifth levels. So if this wave going down touches this level, forget about it. So that is the ratio we follow. Some traders follow 50%, some traders might be following something else. I'm here to show you what's working for me, and that is one of the pattern you're looking at right now. Alright, now make sure, again I repeat that this doesn't give me any clue, any sense of the direction of the market. It's just for fine-tune my entries. How do I fine-tune my entry? We'll discuss that. So this next wave going down has to touch 382 but cannot touch 618. So let's say this wave ends here. You would call this wave is a B wave formation. Alright, once that B wave formation is done, make sure your fib is deleted, the previous impulse. Now you make sure you fib this impulse from A to B. Once you have done that, this next leg has to touch 382 level, but this leg going up can actually tag it, go up, but make sure this level or this leg is giving you close below to this impulse or this point of zone. So anywhere this goes up, I don't care, but the candle has to come back within the range of this impulse. So if it does that, it's still valid. So let's say you have a wick somewhere there, but that candle comes back and closes below in the zone of that. The pattern is still valid. We can trade that. Okay, so make sure these are the conditions which we follow. The next condition which we look for in this pattern, पुराना जो इम्पल्स था उसे वापस से फिब करना है, एंड वंस यू फिब इट, पुराने जो रेशियोज हैं वो वापस से अपीयर हो जाएंगे यहाँ पर, एंड वंस वी गेट इट, this leg going down, it has to touch 886, but it cannot give you close below the X leg. All right, so once it does that, the thing which you're looking at is something we call as a back pattern. This leg will be called as a C leg, this leg will be called as a D leg, and once that is done, that is the formation you're looking at right now. And इसके बाद जो भी बचता है वो ड्राइंग के पर्पस के लिए होता है. पीपल लाइक टू like make triangles like that. They tend to join this leg to this leg just because it looks good. They do that. But जितनी फॉर्मेशन होनी थी, once you get this D leg, ये डिजाइन बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है, आपको पता चल जाएगा कि यहाँ से we are looking for the buy side. All right. So this D leg from 886, that's the level and that's the fine tune. So which means अगर मुझे ऐसा पैटर्न फॉर्मेशन मार्केट में दिखता है and I'm looking for the buy perspective, which means कि मुझे 886 से एक्टिवेट हो जाना चाहिए 4 hour बाइंग और पोजीशंस के लिए. This is one of the reason I fine tune my entries. Now टारगेट के लिए भी एडवांस पैटर्न के अपने रूल्स होते हैं, बट मेरी टारगेट टेकिंग पोजीशंस वेव एनालिसिस आती है, विच मीन्स कि अगर मेरी एनालिसिस बोलती है कि ये लेग जो ऊपर आने वाला है इट विल एक्चुअली टेक द हाइस, विच मीन्स मैं फिर उसको नए हाई के लिए ट्रेड करता हूँ. बट अगर मेरी एनालिसिस बोलती है कि ये लेग गोइंग अप, ये स्ट्रक्चर कोई नहीं तोड़ने वाला, यू आर एक्चुअली गोइंग टू गेट वन मोर पीस डाउन, तब we'll look for the short-term targets. All right, so targets may personally, the rules which advanced pattern provides, I don't follow that. For the targets, it comes from the ability of the traders. So you can take the 618 or 382 of this complete A to D leg, or you can take the new highs. All right, wherever I tend to buy these things, I shoot for the next high because my fine tuning is required for that impulse going up. All right, so that's a bull pattern, that's a buy pattern, that's a back pattern you're looking at in front of you. इसी का जस्ट अपोजिट कर दोगे तो हमें एक सेल स्ट्रक्चर और सेल डायरेक्शन का पैटर्न मिल जाएगा. बट अगेन कीप इन माइंड, सेल डायरेक्शन एनालिसिस से आना चाहिए, ना कि सिर्फ बैट पैटर्न सेल डायरेक्शन का बन गया और हमने वहां पे सेल लगा दिया. इफ वी आर गोना डू दैट, आई हैव डन दैट एंड द रिजल्ट्स वर डिजास्टर फॉर मी, बिकॉज समटाइम्स क्या होता है कि सेल स्ट्रक्चर का हमें पैटर्न तो यहाँ दिखता है, बट let's say कि 886 पे हमने सेल लगा दी, we don't know the how much momentum this wave has, so sometimes what it does, it goes up and comes back down, right? And that is something which I learned once I analyzed the market through the wave analysis, which means these patterns will always provide me fine tuning in the entries. They will never tell me the direction because it's something different, a structure. It's not a bad pattern, it's just a design of the chart. So for learning purpose, how do we look at as a bad pattern? We first find the impulse for the downside, we'll fib it, and once we get this move, we'll call that move as a X wave. This will be the A wave. All right, make sure this wave doesn't go beyond this point, and this wave has to touch 382 but cannot touch 618 in the direction. Once it does that, delete it, or you can keep it up to you, but make sure you're calling this as a B. For learning purpose, I have deleted previous fib so you can understand better, and you fib this impulse going up or the corrective structure, depends how do you see it. Now this wave going down, it has to touch 382, but actually it cannot give you close below the A wave. It has to come back within this structure and give you the close. If it does that, the pattern is validate. Then you delete everything. Oops, we have removed the fib. Put it back. So this leg going down is something like this, let's assume, and once it does this, this market is qualified to call this a structure. If this market goes up and touch 886, you can officially call this pattern as a back pattern. All right, and at that particular point, if you like the designs, you can keep this and you can attach that just because it looks good. And that, my friend, we're looking at as a back pattern. I use it as a fine tuning in my entries, and I'm looking for the next impulse for the downside. But if I'm not sure that that impulse is going downside will appear that long, which means you can also take the target of this A to D complete leg. You will call that as a C. You will call that as a D. Now you flip this entire move and look for the 382 or 618 target. That's up to the trader's ability. I would repeat this again. So that's a bad pattern, guys. That's how we follow it, and those are the latest rules which we are following. Why I call it latest? Because in order to maximize the returns in the market, time to time we adjust or modify some rules here and there. And once we test it in the live market, once we have done the back testing, we update the rules for all the traders in our trading communities. All right. So that's the buy pattern and that's the sell pattern. Let's find those patterns in the charts. Now for the quick example, I have put this Nifty chart in front of me. Now can you see one sell pattern in front of you, which is a bad pattern? To recognize that pattern from this range, it's a sell pattern. Can you recognize it? And pause the video and try to recognize that. So let's go. So if you recognize this as a bad pattern, well, you did good. You need to move to the next chapter in the market. So this is one of the sell structure and sell pattern. Now again, keep in mind, guys, this is not the reason I'm looking for this waves for the downside. If you're following our weekly analysis, I mean, we were looking for this wave since last year, and this is July now. All right. Now this bad pattern appeared over there. That thing can only give me the fine tune in my strategy. So let's look at that. If we flip this impulse for the downside, you can see that this impulse going down X to A to B, it did touch 382 but did not touch the 618. What we do next, we delete the fib and we flip this impulse entirely from this point to this point onward, and you can easily see that it has touched the 382 but it has not given you close below to this point onwards, right? After this point, you apply the previous applied fib again to find out the 886 of the previous impulse, and you can see how beautifully the market failed from that direction. Now why did it fail from that particular direction? I mean, that's the entry purpose, that's not the direction. I'm telling you, if the major structure of the market was up, this level was violated through like that, and you will cry for that pattern, that why, and whenever I take those patterns, those are not working for me. But when I back tested that, they work like a charm, like the one I'm showing you. See how 886 is respected? That thing is respected because this thing is supposed to go down, and you're looking for a sell structure and sell pattern. So just go find something which tells you to sell. In this case, this bad pattern allow me to sell at this particular level if I'm trading this script, right? If I'm looking for the next impulse down, I mean, that's the target I'm looking at. All right. So I hope you're taking this note if you're applying or if you're trading this bad pattern. If you're trading a standalone, only the bad pattern, I mean, I don't think you should be getting the returns which you are supposed to get if you just make a conjunction of this with something reliable in the market. And for us, that's a wave analysis. That was a sell structure, that was a sell pattern. At this point, if you like the drawing of the market, you can make something like this: X to A wave, A to B wave, B to C wave, and C to D wave. That's a bad pattern. If you zoom out from the chart, from this point onward, I can find easily a buy bad structure. Can you find that? Pause the video and try to figure out, I'm looking at this structure. Can you fine tune your buy entry for a wave upside? So let's go. So this is the pattern which I was discussing. This is what I have seen as a bad pattern. So this is how I'm taking this leg for the upside. I'm taking this as a X to A, this as a X to B, this as a B to C, and this as a C to D. So let's look at that as a fib ratio. So we have, and we apply the fib from here to here, you would find that from this point onward, X to A and A to B is touched by 382, and it did not touch the 618. You delete that fib and you apply it from the back to the bottom. You can see that it has not given you close above this point, so which means that lag is also validated. Now again, if you go back on these weekly webinar, and you will find that how beautifully we are predicting each and every single wave of it. and that is publicly available for you guys also. We used to have the live weekly webinar at that time. I think many people joined that session. If you are interested, go sign up. It's a Telegram channel. The weekly webinar is starting again. But the reason we were buying these up waves is because we are analyzing it from the wave analysis perspective. For this particular trade, for this particular moment, we are fine-tuning our entry from this points onwards for 886. So let's say for if this market wants to go down, the 886 is a perfect level to buy. And you can see that how respectfully and beautifully it has respected that level, right? If you trade standalone back patterns, I'm telling you guys, this leg can do this and this. So your back pattern might not work if you are just trading the back pattern. So make sure you're making a conjunction with something of the back patterns. All right. If you like the design, this is X to A to B, B to C, and C to D again. That's the completion. So alright guys, that's the back pattern from NST. I hope you learned something from this video. If you like this video, if you like the concept, give this video a thumbs up and let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. So I'll see you with another update guys. Until then, trade with care, happy trading and bye bye.